All right. And as she said, thanks for coming at the end of almost the end of a very long conference. I'm thrilled to be here and actually talk about something of substance. Last time I spoke to an agricultural group, I was really excited. It was the BC Women's Farmers Association or something, their big meeting. And they asked me to speak. I was like, yes, I'm finally in as a farmer. They said, we want you to be the comedian. So I got to do a stand-up routine, and all I did was talk about all the lousy things I did as a farmer, and everyone laughed, and it was wonderful. But today I've actually got something hopefully more interesting to present. I don't know if you read the write-up or just ended up in this room by accident, but there's almost two different topics, but they're very related. The first is about food hubs. There's a whole movement of food hubs across North America, how farmers and food people can get together and collectively address some of the issues we face. And then the second part of it is looking specifically at one idea, which is online marketing and the online marketplace. So that's kind of the structure we'll do here. And right off the top, I want to acknowledge sponsors, because we've been doing this for almost 2 years, as I'll share. We started out, actually this started even before I got involved with Cowichan Green Community, which is those folks there. They're a local nonprofit doing food sustainability stuff all over the place. And they issued a report called Growing Connections, if I got that right. If not, Judy's going to yell at me. Looking at a lot of food issues. And one of the things they investigated was online marketing. And so we've taken off from that. And Cowichan Green Community has continued to support this initiative with staff, with expertise, with meeting space. They've been huge. And then we got funding from the BC Co-op Association, who had received their funding, at least in part, from Van City. And we did a feasibility study. And then more recently, we've got funding from Coastal Community Credit Union and the local economic development Cowichan. So there's been a lot of people jumping in and helping make this happen. Yeah, next. Oh, this is great. It's like a remote control. Ding. So the most boring slide of this whole time, a food hub. If you follow the USDA definition, it's people or organizations or something who look at aggregating, distributing, and marketing of local stuff, primarily local and regional, to get into wholesale, retail, and institutional markets. So it's how to help us. Is everyone here farmers? No? Okay. When I say us, I mean farmers. You'll find out I'm a very small-scale farmer. How to help the farm stuff get into people's bellies. That's a food hub. And there's kind of three main types, or three main activities that food hubs seem to do on average. One is connecting farmers directly to the consumers. So that's, for example, what our marketplace is going to do, and it's what you do as farmers markets. A second is aggregating, back up to there, for wholesale distribution. Because I sure don't grow enough garlic to sell the thrifties, but 50 of us together might. And a third is processing. So those are kind of the three main things food hubs seem to do so far. Why are food hubs needed? This over and over, you see this. Farmers saying, I would grow more and I wish I could get it to market. I would grow more if I could sell more. And on the flip side, customers saying, I would buy more if I could get access to it the way I want access to it. I especially heard this from local restaurants. We try to serve local, but we can't get the supply that we need. It packaged the way we want, or on the days we want, or at the price we want, whatever their criteria are. There's a disconnect here, and these are my two lovers trying to reach each other across the field. So food hubs are a way to try to meet this need on both sides and bring them together. That's a bunch of stats. You don't need those. And the other thing we're hearing from farmers is, most farmers want to be on their farm. They don't want to be marketing. And I've heard this in a few other sessions this week too. So as a food hub, can we pool our resources and have someone who likes this stuff and is good at doing this stuff to do the social marketing and the media and the research and all that kind of stuff? Let someone else sell it for me so I can do my farming. So that's a place where food hubs can really jump in and help. Okay. Our goal, I'm coming back to our group now locally, our goal is to increase food sustainability and farm viability. So food sustainability, if we can get farmers to grow more and get that food into people's bellies instead of going to waste, we've increased food sustainability. And number 3, if we can get it done locally. So not just global food sustainability, but local food sustainability. Here on the island, you guys probably know the numbers better than me. We used to have like 90% food sustainability security, and now we grow like 10%. What are the numbers? Who knows it? 6%? We grow 6% of our food. If the ferries stop running tomorrow, we'll be out of food in like 3 days. We are not a food secure island anymore. And we used to be. So if we can get more stuff grown here and consumed here, we're dealing with that issue. And of course, farm viability. If we can help farmers get more to market and get fair prices, then more of us can be farmers and sustain ourselves that way instead of like me, farming on the side and running my consulting business to subsidize my farming habit. Yeah. So now I'm going to tell you a bit about my story and how a food hub might help that. This is my lovely wife, and we grow garlic. A couple years ago, we grew 1,000 bulbs, and we ended up, and they're gorgeous. And look at that. That's some fine garlic. But I never got around to selling all of it. I sell it at my farm stand, and I put it on Facebook, and in the end, I had 200 hanging up in my barn that went bad, and I had to burn them. I literally burned 200 garlic. Gorgeous until they rotted. Gorgeous garlic. It's a really sweet-smelling fire. And that just hurts. And so how could a food hub have helped me get those 200 garlic into our food system instead of into my fire pit, and instead people buying garlic from China? So here in the Cowichan, and also in Comox, and also in Nelson, with this funding from the BC Co-op Association, we held visioning meetings with farmers and people who care about food. And we asked that exact question. What is there that we could do together to increase food sustainability, increase farm viability? What are our challenges, and what are the solutions? And we came up with 9 major things, and that's what I'm going to run through now. The 9 things that if people can do together to accomplish those goals. And I've kind of put this in chronological order, not in prioritized order. So first of all, people need to have land. I was fortunate enough to sell a house in Vancouver at a good time in the market, so I was able to buy my 5 acres. Obviously, not everyone can do that. So we talked about cooperatively, we could do land share agreements. We could help with succession planning for farmers. So folks, as they're retiring, how are they going to get that land continue to be cultivated by the new generation? Financing. Can we work together to help young people especially get financing for buy their farms? Advocacy work around ALR stuff, around zoning. Incubation farms. Here in the Cowichan, it's in the official plan of North Cowichan now to get some incubation farms going. Can we have cooperatively owned farms? I'm throwing these really quickly at you just because I'm really just trying to open your mind to different ways that we can work together. So once we've got land, then we have to teach people how to farm. I was a city boy. I never grew anything. And I quit my job and became a farmer and stay-at-home dad. And we got our land in August, which is, in my mind, was too late to plant anything. And then I heard I could plant garlic. So we bought garlic from the farmer up the street, and we planted it in this nice heart shape, kind of in the middle of our land. Turns out right in the middle of a thistle patch. So the next year, these thistles coming up. Oh, and we also inherited chickens. I'm going back to my comedy routine now. So we moved on, we had chickens, and then the first night we're like, oh my God, we have to put the chickens to bed. So we went out at 8 o'clock and started chasing chickens and trying to grab them and put them in. It was the scariest thing. Turns out chickens go in by themselves after dark. You probably know that. So I love doing this when I have guests now. I was like, hey, can you put the chickens away? And then we go watch them chasing the chickens. So to get cooperatively, we could have actually helped me to kind of know where to plant things. And a lot of that happens already. And locally, CGC does a lot of farmer education, for example, and the Farmers Institutes have workshops. So a lot of this is already happening, but it's something we can do cooperatively. Okay. And then there's labor. I use child labor personally, but it doesn't always work so well. And they're not always that happy. That's a posed picture. Especially this one's 13 now. So. But we talked about in this group again how maybe cooperatively we could share labor. When I'm finished with the woofer, pass them on. Or can there be a cooperative of farm laborers who go farm to farm and help? Or can we have days where we all help on Daisy's farm one day and Joe's farm the next day? Can we have standards about how we treat our workers, how we pay them, how we recruit them? Could we do joint recruitment of migrant workers? There's lots of different ways that together we could solve our labor issues easier than each of us saying, I can't find enough people to harvest my raspberries. This is supposedly a picture of my mother saying, you're charging $2.50 for a head of garlic? I can get them 10 for $1 at Costco, and I can get them 3 for $1 at whole paycheck, which is coming to Victoria now. Wow. We have a lot of, I can't convince my mother that I'm charging a fair price for my garlic. And going back to that pricing thing yesterday, I actually calculated one day that even ignoring all my mortgage costs and every other cost, just looking at my labor, I earn about 5 cents an hour for selling my garlic. And she wants me to charge $10 an hour. So cooperatively, can we educate our market, our current market, but more importantly, the market we're trying to capture about why our pricing is fair, why they should shop locally and through us. That's a hard thing to do by ourselves. Okay? I said there's 9 things, but I split market into 5 A, B, and C, so I cheated a little bit. Also, the first thing we sold, the next year we discovered that our farm used to be a commercial flower farm with dahlias, which had died, but all sorts of other flowers, especially peonies. So we set up our market stand at the bottom, got all our cute kids to stand there saying, flowers for sale, child labor again. And this guy drove up, jumped out and said, I'm going to meet my new mother-in-law. Here's $20. Make me a bouquet. I'll come back. And then he drove away. We're like, wow, this farming's easy. Yeah. And then the kids ran and made this beautiful display. He was happy. So marketing to individuals is one way that we get our things out. A lot of us have these farm stands or we do our CSAs. Cooperatively, we actually didn't come up with a big list of ways we can support each other marketing directly to individuals. So, just saying we didn't come up with solutions, maybe you would. But then at the farmer's market, I was telling someone we tried to start a pocket market. This was it, just down in our local area. On this day I didn't make any money. The first day was even worse. I sold lettuce. I sold $3 worth of lettuce, and I spent $5 on cookies for my kids. We had a great time. Farmers markets are hard, especially for us really small-scale folks. Something I heard yesterday was the more you're selling, the actually more momentum you gain and the more you can sell. You buy this credibility and a loyal following. So huge respect to those of you who put in the hours and the relationship building to make your farmers market stands work. I chose not to go that route. Cooperatively, we talked about how we could maybe aggregate stuff and take it to an out-of-town market. In our case, we decided probably we should all rent a truck or borrow a truck and take stuff down to Victoria and just have 2 farmers stand there on behalf of the entire Cowichan Valley co-op selling Cowichan Valley produce. In the end, we've decided a different track, and then we get into the big markets, right? You can't read this, but what does it say? I can't even read it here. Can someone read what that says? Good things come from Cisco. That's what it says right there. Isn't that great? That's who we're competing against. So 2 cooperative approaches. One is to see them as an ally. Again, I don't grow enough garlic to sell to Cisco, but maybe we could pool our garlic and they're an easy way to get it out into the world. Or we can compete against them, which we can start going directly to restaurants and say, instead of buying from Cisco, buy from our co-op. We'll be your middleman instead of Cisco, or instead of us and then Cisco, each time each of us having to take a cut of it. We will get you. So that's what the restaurants told us. We have restaurants saying, we are committed to local food and we buy as much as we can. We even go to the farmer's market on Saturday. But we need our food on Thursday for the weekend. Or it's a huge investment for us to walk stand to stand and hope we get what we need, and then we still have to run into Thrifties at the end to get what we couldn't find. It's hard for them, and they are trying. If we had a way, a very reliable place to go and get everything we need for the week or for a few days, we would do it. That's what the restaurants were telling us, and I'm sure you've heard the same. Next one. And the same with institutions. I mean, selling to Thrifties, who say, I mean, this, evidently they got government money for this campaign, which interests me. But, you know, again, and they were sitting at the table with us for some of these early discussions, their head produce buyer. Very genuinely, I want to buy locally, but here's the conditions I need. I need it packaged this way. I need these certifications. I need this type of delivery system, which I, as a small-scale farmer, can't do, but cooperatively, maybe we can. We can aggregate and get it into Thrifties or Sobeys or whatever. Interesting tidbit that he told me, and I don't know if it's still true with Sobeys now, but even when we sell to the local Thrifties, they have to put it in a truck, take it over to the Lower Mainland on the ferry to package it their way, and then bring it back again to here. So if you care about your carbon footprint of your food, even when you sell it locally to Thrifties, it's traveling back and forth on the ferry. Is that fun? Yeah. And again, that's their hands tied. I mean, the local purchaser doesn't, he cares as well, but that's the rules he has to follow. Okay, so that was all about markets. You know, cooperatively, we can help each other get to market. Value-added processing. There was a co-op that tried to start here, and there have been others that have tried or successfully started, saying together, you know, instead of me sitting with my kids peeling all these garlic and then hand pounding them and trying to make garlic powder, it's pretty labor-intensive. It was good for my kids, I thought. But if we collectively get all of our waste or all of our whatever and make garlic powder and make juice and make baby carrots that are just like that customers like, it might be something we can do cooperatively. Our group has decided that, at least at the beginning, it's very capital intensive and high risk, and we've decided not to start at that point, but it's on our list possibly for the future. All right, so yeah, but I mean, that's a good example of how cooperatively we can help each other understand these regulations, make sure we're meeting them. If it means that we're going to have to build a new kitchen or find a partner, like locally CGC has a kitchen, Cobble Hill has a kitchen, that, you know, and maybe 4 of us go in and rent it together. So there's ways that we can work together to meet whatever we need to for processing. Storage, I hope that's not mine, but, you know, storage of winter vegetables or things. So refrigeration, freezing, that's something that I sure can't do on my own, but maybe collectively we can build or rent a facility. So extend the season, because we get obviously a higher price if we can sell these in February than when we sell them in December. I might have the months wrong on that, sorry. I don't grow these. Okay. Distribution, the group up in Nelson, this is their biggest issue. They're growing things well. The markets want their food. It's just getting it there because they're a really dispersed area and they have to get things down to Grand Forks. So this is where they're starting on their plans. How can we collectively rent or buy a reefer truck and go farm to farm and collect it and get it down to the market at Grand Forks? That's going to solve their problems. Here locally, that isn't such an issue for us. We decided not to start there. Universal access, our group in that first meeting, I'm still on that first meeting with our laundry list of things we can do together. And they identified, hey, you know, collectively, can we help make sure that everyone in our community has access to our good, local, healthy food? So you guys already know about this coupon program, right? Here it's run through CGC. I believe there's a partner like that in different areas. We also are planning to collectively get some of our unsold things and get it to the food banks or the social programs, and also to look at ways that we can be employing people on our farms or in our marketing. So if we had had a food hub already in existence doing all these things, my happy young new farmer idealistic family, they would helped us get land, taught us to do it, all these things. This huge big pile of garlic all would have got into the community and been used and increased our food security locally. So I don't know if it's a challenge or a question. I'm a Quaker, so I'll call it a query. The query is, you already have groups of farmers organized and working collectively. You already have essentially food hubs. And you've chosen the farmers market as your main activity. My question is, could that be your first activity? And now that you're organized and credible and have a membership and have an income flow, are there any other pieces of this that maybe would be a great additional project for you guys to take on? And it's going to be different in every area and your capacity and your interest, but just kind of throw that out there. Okay. I got this slide from Darren Stott, who's done a lot of food hub studies like this, especially on the Lower Mainland. So there's lots of food hubs out there, especially in the United States. They're making money. They're very often quite big. The ones in the States are tending to go for large-scale aggregation and wholesale distribution. That seems to be where most of them are going. And in Canada, there's not a lot of examples I could dig up, but I didn't do too much research. But Caslow's got one, Toronto. All these ones here are in the process of trying to get going, and I'm sure there's a lot more than that as well. Keys to success, based on a lot of research and talking to folks and our own brainstorming. Low capital investment at the beginning. The co-ops locally that I saw not work, this was a huge issue. It's like trying to build a huge processing facility when they don't have an income flow yet, and they just have a really nice looking business plan. That can make something fall short. So we've tried to choose something that at the beginning we could just get into pretty easily. And number two, immediate benefit to farmers. The farmers want to know, did I sell more carrots this year because of being involved in this group? If they see a group that's just doing another feasibility study and another this and that, and they don't get to sell another carrot, we're going to lose interest pretty quickly. So quick bang for the buck for the farmers, or we're going to lose them. And additionality, my word program hates that word. It keeps underlining it in red. That's not a word, but I think it is. This is a major principle we had, that whatever we started here, we did not want it to be in competition with what already exists. We want it to be a value added. We already have a great farmers market in Duncan. And whatever we do, we want it to add to that, not to take away from it. We have CGC and we have Farmers Institutes doing great education. How do we bring them in instead of trying to do something they're already doing? So that was huge for us. And a good manager. You all know that. Can I show what we're going to do? And then that's a key question. That's exactly the question I could have in your mind as I, right now, show you what we're doing here, which is the online marketplace. Because I do believe this is going to be in addition to the farmers market. And I've got James right here. You're the Duncan Farmers Market president. And he's my friend, so hopefully he'll still be my friend a year from now. I've already told you how all this started. We're going to launch this in June. That's all you need to know from that. So how we've set this up, first of all, we decided on a co-op structure, and we decided to be a non-profit co-op, which is called a community services co-op. We chose that because the main goal of a co-op is to provide service to members and to give the benefit to the members, not just the investors. And it's democratic, one member, one vote. Doesn't matter if I happen to be able to put in a bunch of extra capital right now to kickstart it, I still only get one vote. That was important to us. And it's locally owned and locally run, and really is a real philosophy of co-ops is to support and build the local community, not just to make money for the investors. So it felt like the model that best represented what we were trying to do. I could talk for hours about co-ops. Come back to me on that. For our membership, we decided to be, I don't know if officially we're a multi-stakeholder co-op, but we're open and hoping to have representation not just from the farmers, but also from the purchasers. As I said, we had thrifties at the table. We had the community farm store at the table. Nonprofits like CGC and others who are doing food sustainability work, and the local government. And I've got VIU sitting at the table as well, Vancouver Island University. And our idea around this is that all of us have a piece in this puzzle, or in the pie, whichever you want. We all are part of the solution. Let's work together and share this information. Get a bunch of farmers together talking about pricing. We can convince each other pretty easily that we should charge $10 a head for garlic, right? I could probably convince all of you of that, but have my mother at the table. Suddenly we've got a reality check, and we're going to find something that is realistic and works by having all those voices there. But we did do producer-led. We put in our constitution that farmers have to be, I believe it's 80% or 75% of the board have to be growers, because we felt that we wanted the ultimate control. And here's what our front page of our website is going to look like. So it's going to be an online marketplace, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works, but it's beautiful, clean. We decided on this on the online marketplace as opposed to all those other things on that list because of low capital, quick startup, quick bang for the buck for the farmers. And it directly addressed our core issue, which was farmers want to grow their market. For us, that was the biggest issue, and this directly addresses that. And through this, we're going to quickly build our reputation and our membership and our financial cash flow. Hopefully it'll be so successful that then we can start to pick off some of those other issues. Great, we're doing so well, now let's start processing carrots, or now let's buy a truck, or now let's whatever it is. Okay. This was quite an issue right away. It's like, what are we going to sell on here? Are we going to sell candles? Are we going to do reselling stuff? This is issues I've been hearing all weekend as well. These were our three definitions we came up with. It has to be consumable, i.e. edible or drinkable. So right away, this beautiful soap product that my friend makes, Skifty, we're not going to let her sell it on our website, at least not right now. Because food sustainability is our core mission. It has to be locally grown or processed. So that means we are going to allow coffee if someone brings it in and does their special roast and stuff. So we decided that's good. And it has to be something from a farm or the ocean or something like that. And we have talked about the slow season. We have one board member in particular saying, well, at Christmas time, maybe we should temporarily open it up for homemade local Christmas gifts and artisan stuff. Ultimately, the board's going to decide that. For right now, our founding board, this is what we decided. It's going to be very easy to shop, so our customers can go on anytime they want, up until Wednesday at noon. They can shop by product, so they can punch in, I want carrots, or I want bread products. And the whole list, everyone who's selling carrots will all come up. Oh, you can buy carrots from Rick at this price, or from James at that price, and they make their choice, put it in their shopping basket. Or they can shop by farm. So if they really like me, they can go to Wildside Farm, which is me, and see what I've got for sale and buy whatever they want from me, and then go back to the main website and order their other stuff. So it still allows our farmers to build upon your reputation and your loyal customers. And in fact, you're going to have business cards that you can hand out saying, hey, you want to buy from me online? Here's the card with the link directly to my farm site on here. Okay. I was going to tell you this later, but this whole back end is being done by a company called Local Food Marketplace, and they're just one group who do this. So we're just contracting with them. They have all the back end stuff set up, and they customize it based on what we ask them to do. The way they have it set up, when the customer picks up their goods, they'll get a list out of everything they bought and what farm it came from. So they will know. Even as they're ordering, they'll see, oh, I just ordered that from Rick, and oh, I just ordered that from Judy. So they'll know that all along. The first thing you said was, if I'm promoting my own farm through this, is that good or bad for the co-op? I would argue it's good for the co-op in two ways. One, the co-op's still getting the commission from selling my garlic. Every time I send someone to the website and they order there, the co-op is generating business and getting that commission. But more importantly, I'm bringing my customers to the co-op's website, and I do not grow everything. I'm sitting there to buy my garlic and my buffalo meat, But then while they're there, they're also going to say, oh, someone else has tomatoes and someone else has fish. So we're bringing customers in because they love me or my garlic, and then now they're in the co-op. And we're choosing to keep them separate like that. There are a lot of food hubs and these people who aggregate. So you just buy carrots from the co-op and you don't necessarily know who they're from. We've chosen to keep it so you have that relationship with the grower. So for the customer, they can go in there, find what they want. They can find out who it's from. There's farmers' profiles, so they can go and read about each farmer if they choose to do so. And that's, you put up your own content on that, your own photos. We just give you a template. So you can sell yourself however you want. And then Wednesday at noon, the market closes. The computer generates a little invoice or whatever. Sorry, not invoice, order form, and sends it to each farmer and says, here's how many tomatoes you need to harvest. Here's how many carrots. Got ordered and prepaid. You go out that afternoon or evening or next morning, do that harvest, and bring it in the next morning. Both. The person pays with their credit card at the time of order. We do not process their payment until after they've picked up. That way, if they show up and they look at my carrots and say, these are crap, I don't want these, we say, no problem, we'll just take it off your bill. And then we process it. And then we yell at the farmer.
How do you manage inventory? Does inventory on this website just automatically reduce itself?
It does. Yep, as soon as someone orders your carrots, the amount you have for sale goes down by that much. Yeah, it takes care of a lot of stuff for us. We tried to hire our own developer that we really loved to build this, and as soon as he saw the complexity, he said, no, you're better off just paying for it. They're charging us 2%, but with a minimum of $100 a month. We felt that at least for our startup time, that was well worth it than trying to invent this for ourselves. Yeah. And then our commission that we charge. We'll get there in a second. Commission, we are charging 20% commission for co-op members, 25% if you choose not to become a co-op member. You're still welcome to be on here. A lot of people try to start with a low commission, and they actually can't cover their costs. So we're setting it there and hoping that within a few years, maybe we're doing so well we can reduce it. But they're bringing it to us. Again, we chose, at least for startup, not to invest in a truck or even rent one. Down the road, maybe that would be something we collectively would choose to do. So we're only going to, this is Good Eggs. It's a really good example of this down in San Francisco Bay Area. They've got multiple drop locations. We've chosen to just have one. We're a small valley. We might in the future have one down in the south or the north. And it's at Cowichan Green Community. They're giving it to us basically for free to help us get started for a while. I've promised her payment later. And so it's a central location. The farmer brings it in on Thursday morning between 9 and 12. We give ourselves 3 hours, and we're hoping that's enough to then take your carrots and your tomatoes and put them in this bag for customer number 1, matching his order. And then from 3 to 6, the customer comes and does their pickup. At 6 o'clock, we close the doors, and if you didn't pick your up, you just made a donation to the food bank. Thank you very much. No waste. The manager just makes one drop on the drive home to wherever we're taking it. And that customer, sorry. And you are setting the price. The farmer sets the price. So when you upload, you can say you want $2 or $3 per head of garlic, and then the computer is going to add on the commission on top of that. So if you want to set a higher price for this, or if you want to set your same farm market price, you can, but then be aware that for the customer, it's more expensive than the farm market. So most of our farmers are planning to take the 20% hit themselves in exchange for not having to, for being able to move more product without standing at a second farmer's market. But it is under your control. Yeah, Howard's going to plant extra this year. He says, great, I'm going to just open up another field, and that's going to be my experiment for this marketplace. Because now I've got another way to sell that. I already know what I sell at the farmer's market. I'm going to assume I'm going to sell more and plant more this year. Yay, we just got more food into the system. On the farmer end, we hope this is easy to sell. You can go online at any time and update what you have for sale. The market closes Wednesday and then opens again Friday at lunchtime. So Friday morning, the computer will send you an automatic email saying, here's what we think you're selling. Here's what you had listed last week and remained unsold. Please go on and update. If that's not true, change it. If you have more stuff, add it. So you get a little prompt reminding you. And then you get an email Wednesday afternoon saying, here's what to pick, bring it tomorrow. Thursday morning, you bring it in and drop it. That's it. That's it on your end. Oh, I'm sorry. And for setting the prices, you can choose to do a different price for bulk if you want. You can say garlic $2 each, but if you buy 100, I'll give it to you for $1.50. So that's your choice if you want to do more wholesale prices. We're not currently offering anything special for restaurants or institutions. We're just going to see if this satisfies their needs. Cooperatively, we may decide to create something different, or maybe we do free delivery to the restaurants, but we can decide that later. I've already said this, you're going to have your own web page now. So you don't have to, if you don't want, you don't have to go to the effort and the expense of developing your own website. Here it is. You got your own individual URL, coop.ca/wildsidefarm. And you can sell yourself here. And the business cards. So the costs, we've already pretty much covered this. There's a one-time share fee of $50. If you want to join the co-op, you don't have to. And that's redeemable anytime at par value. You get your $50 back. We're charging just $25 to once a year to have the privilege of uploading stuff. And that's just covering some of our admin costs of setting up. We chose to put the commission rate higher. We could have made the web listing fee higher and brought the commission rate down. But especially at the beginning, we want this to be easy entry for farmers. If you want to give this a try, all you got to put up is $25. And then if you never sell anything, you've lost $25. If you do sell stuff, bonus, you're making money. And as I say, if you choose to put the $50, then you get a reduced rate. Plus, you get to have a say in how the co-op's running. On the purchaser end, again, they can choose to buy a share just to be part of it. At this point, we haven't agreed on any discount or benefits of being a member besides having an influence how it's run. We may decide to do that later. We're guessing the food prices that farmers will put up prices similar to the farmers market prices, but that's just a guess. We don't know how it's going to work. I've already talked about the software programs. Here's a whole bunch that exist. We found local food marketplace to be the one that worked for our needs. I know in Comox, they're doing something different and they're using Farmigo, Farmigo, Farmigo. They pronounce it Farmigo. Okay. Here's our projection. Someone asked. We're hoping 60 farmers selling collectively $9,000 per month. So that means farmers are averaging $150 of sales per month. Some obviously will be way higher. People like me will be way lower. We'll be busier in the summer than the winter because we are going to go 12 months. But that's just the averages. If those come true, we'll make $15,000 in our commissions. Oh yeah, this is our revenue and some from memberships. We're still going to need some grants and loans. Where did Moira go? We're a startup company. We are going to need a little bit of bridge to get us through this first year until we reach a scale where we're profitable. So we are going to be out there doing grant applications, maybe take a loan or a line of credit. We're open to something like that. So these are break-even numbers. Then the second year, we plan to increase the number of sellers and the average that they're selling. The first year, we're only here for 7 months. That's why this number is also lower, whereas we'll be 12 months in year 2. In 2016, that is. So we'll be bringing in a lot more. We may still need a bit more of a push, but hardly at all. By year 3, we'll be completely self-sustaining. Yeah. Again, we're lucky enough to have a nonprofit partner, Cowichan Green Community, that recently bought an old hotel and liquor store. And it had a commercial kitchen in it. So we're going to use their commercial kitchen. And we've got a book for the entire day because drop-off starts at 9 a.m. Pickup ends at 6 p.m. It's always just on Thursdays. We're not storing anything. It comes in the morning, 6 o'clock, everything walks out the door. So the farmers deliver between 9 and 12 in the morning, and then the customers cannot show up until 3 p.m. for pickup. We've given ourselves 3 hours to do all our repackaging and organizing. So as a farmer, you have to have it there by noon the next day. We're giving you 24 hours to harvest. But yeah, that's a good thing to check back in with the members. We can close the market at 8 a.m. or... The process we went through to design this is we had a small steering committee of just like 4 of us, all farmers, some big, some small. And we came up with the initial ideas, and now we've elected a board. We've got a full board of, I think, 9 people, all farmers. And their job is to actually go through with a fine-tooth comb and say, this doesn't work, this works, and bring it back to the membership before we launch to get the full buy-in. So that's exactly the type of question we'll test back before we actually launch. This is my last slide. Good. Okay. So that brings us back to the core question. Do you see this as a value added for the farmers market? You've already got customers coming to your gate sales, maybe your CSA, coming to your farm stand. Our hope is that this is now just option number 4. We've opened up yet another way that people can buy your stuff. And hopefully we're opening up a market of people who maybe don't want to or can't walk down to the market on Saturday morning. My mother doesn't really feel comfortable going down and talking to a bunch of grubby farmers. That's just not her style. But maybe she'll be comfortable to get online and in the sanctity of her space, just make sure she gets everything she wants, and she just has to walk downtown once and grab everything. It's easier than shopping at Thrifties for my mother. So hopefully my mom's going to start buying from me. Actually, is anyone from White Rock here? She's the White Rock person. And someone on Friday, maybe it was you, suggested, well, why don't I have the pickup at the market, like the CSA, right? I mean, what if this was just completely tied into your farmer's market? So we now offer you the option of pre-purchasing everything, and then you just have to show up at the market and walk around and pick it up. So you're guaranteed to get those tomatoes, and as a farmer, you've got this many sales guaranteed already. Maybe that's a different model. Yeah. And that was mentioned in one of the marketing ones I went to yesterday, right? That we need to sell that part of it, and that's something that the in-person farmers market will always have over this, is that personal touch for those for whom that really matters.